Hey, what's going on, guys? Recently I picked up NASCAR Rivals for the Nintendo Switch. It's a really cool game. It's not quite a simulation, but it's more in depth than an arcade NASCAR racer would be for sure. So you can simulate a full season and the driving dynamics are pretty good. And amazingly, it's on the Switch and it's doing a great job. Now, one characteristic of the Switch, whether it's the Pro Controller or the Joy-Cons and a lot of other Switch controllers, is the triggers up and left hand side of the gamepad are not analog. For most games, that's no problem. For racing games where you might use those triggers to control the throttle and the brake, it's not the ideal experience on the Switch with NASCAR Rivals. Now, I knew that, but I also thought that there might be some possibilities to get analog controls into this game, so I went ahead and bought it. Now, one thing that I noticed almost right away is the game has the capability to have analog throttle and brake. You set the control configuration for the alternate settings, and then the analog gas and brake is on that right-hand stick. Now, there's a couple problems there. Number one, that's kind of old school Gran Turismo where you keep your thumb jammed up again on that joypad and it can really wear you out and put a dent in your thumb. So that's not ideal, especially compared to how a lot of racing games are played today. Number two, and I won't be able to solve this in this video, is you can either accelerate or brake, but you can't push up and down at the same time. Now, I do have a Switch-compatible gamepad by Bitdo that works with my Switch, it works with my PC, works with my Steam Deck. The particular one that I have is both Bluetooth, primarily for the Switch, and then it also comes with the Bitdo dongle for use on the PC, the Steam Deck, and probably some other devices as well. There's other options for what I'm going to show you today where you would just use the 8-Bitdo USB stick. The gamepad that I have is compatible either with the stick or Bluetooth directly. Now, the key to configuring this is to use the 8-Bitdo Ultimate software, which is compatible with certain 8-Bitdo gamepads, but as importantly, it's also compatible with some of their adapters, which gives you the ability to use something like an Xbox controller to do exactly what I'm talking about in this video today. So what you do is you pick your stick, you download the software. I think it just takes you to the same software when you click on your gamepad, but you may as well click on the one that you have. Downloads a zip file, gives you a warning that it's not approved software. I don't know, I just clicked right past that and installed it, and that lets me configure the 8-Bitdo gamepad to my liking. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do once you open this software. I'm not going to go into all those different things today. I'm going to key in on one very specific mapping item for this gamepad, which easily enables you to use analog, throttle, and brake on NASCAR Rivals on your Nintendo Switch. Now, you go to triggers, but that's not where you want to go. You want to go to sticks. And there's the one option in the lower right. Swap right stick and trigger. That is the key option. And I'll tell you what that's going to do. That's going to tell your Switch that you're doing something different when you really are. Once you save this, sync this to your device. I'm showing you here how you can go into different profiles, but then I'm moving the stick, except I'm not moving the stick. Since I swapped the right stick and the trigger, when you see that stick go up in the picture, I'm actually pushing the right trigger. And when you see it go down, I'm pushing the left trigger. And when you see the ZL and the ZR light up, I've swapped them. That's me pushing the stick up and then pushing the stick down, right? For up is ZR and down is ZL. And in the alternate configuration in NASCAR Rivals, if you use a manual transmission, that's going to give you a sequential transmission. That's going to shift up and down the gears, just like a real car. Thumb up on the right stick is going to gear up if you select manual transmission. Stick down is going to go down a gear. So you can decide what you want to do on transmission, automatic, or manual. The most important thing is now when you push the right-hand trigger, it's as though you're pushing the stick up in that alternate configuration. Now, you want to sync this to the device, and then what you want to do is I had to make this stick and work on the switch. I had my switch on the whole time. What I had to do is I had to make sure, one, that I had profile 1 selected. Now on this 8BitDo stick that I have, you push that center button that I'm pointing the arrow to, and then that will light up the first of 3 lights down there, profile 1. It's the only one that I have set up. You can set up additional profiles as well with other button combinations, both for the Switch and then also for Windows. Now, over in NASCAR Rivals, you have to make sure that you're set up on that alternate configuration. And then what I want you to do is press the plus sign. And as you push the right trigger, it's going to show throttle up. And as you push the left trigger, it's going to go brakes up. You can't do both at once because you're simulating that right-hand stick up or down, and you can test your steering here at the same time. Now you might notice as you push those triggers, the throttle's not going up instantly. It's not going up as quickly as you push the trigger, but you can control that. There's, let's see here, there's throttle rate and there's brake rate. And you can experiment with that. You want to find a fine line between jamming it down and maybe spinning your tires or locking up your brakes, but also not having it too slow where you're pushing the trigger and it's not responsive. Everyone's going to be a little bit different for that, and you might end up with different settings for your throttle and brake depending on how you drive. The key with this whole thing is you've got to use a stick that's not the Switch Pro controller or most Switch controllers, either an Xbox controller or one of these 8BitDo controllers that I absolutely love. I've got like 4 of them of different kinds. I've actually got 2 of this ultimate one that you're seeing here. And you're going to set up those triggers to be your throttle and your brake. That right-hand stick is going to be your sequential shifter, which feels really cool. It's actually better than I expected. I thought it would be a little bit cumbersome, and it's not. And what you're doing here is you're making the game work for you. You're arguably making it the way that it was intended, but the Switch controllers have that limitation where the triggers are not analog. So with a Switch controller, you can use that stick. We talked about that. That can be a pain in the thumb. Or if you're serious about this, you can pick up an Xbox controller, or maybe you already have one, then either pick up an 8BitDo stick or that USB dongle that'll work with your Xbox controller. And you can go through the configuration that I showed you today to really make this game work for you, make it work the way that it's intended. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the game. Let me know if you have any questions about this or anything else with NASCAR Rivals. Have a good day.